Alpha 21 made some big sweeping changes to the game, and one of the things that got touched on at least was explosives. And I've had a lot of people asking me to test those out to see what kinds of things actually changed. So I figured what better way to do that than start off just by blowing up a horde of Sylvias while we dive into the mechanics of the explosives in Alpha 21 and see if we can figure out what changed, if anything. The first place I looked to see what kinds of things actually changed was in the XML files of the game. I opened up the one from Alpha 20 and the one from Alpha 21 and compared it side by side for the different explosives. And other than just some verbiage changes, the way the game works, one's listed as an explosive, one's listed as a throwable, all the actual data and the stats for all the explosives is the exact same from one version to the next. So those didn't change. Next, I compared the stats of the items themselves in the game to see if there's any changes, and they remain the same between versions too. So I decided to read through the change log for Alpha 21 and see what was changed by the devs. There were three main things that they listed for changes with explosions. The first one was explosions set falling block velocity and spin, meaning when something blows up and it actually damages a building or block that's there, the explosion itself forces the block to send outwards and rotate at a certain velocity based on the actual explosion itself. So instead of just crumbling down below, when the blocks blow up now, they actually shoot outwards, which was very nice and a lot more realistic. The second one says explosion falling block spawning rate to every X instead of random, meaning that the game will actually configure which blocks need to fall in which order instead of it just being random. So for those of us that like to try and implode large buildings, it'd be nice to see if it would actually implode at a normal level from bottom up, the way it should, instead of just random blocks popping in here and there. So that might be one of those I have to kind of test in a different video. If you guys want to see me explode the Dashang Tower again in Alpha 21, definitely let me know in the comments. And the last thing says improved explosion dismemberment to handle multiple body parts and corpses. Alpha 21 added a new dismemberment system to zombies. Body parts go flying everywhere and it's absolutely fantastic. So now explosions will incorporate that, and we'll see some of that as we go into this video as well, and see how many body parts we can get flying around with the explosions versus an Alpha 20 when that wasn't an option. The next thing I had to do was test both at the same time, so I loaded up Alpha 20 and Alpha 21 and recorded the same explosions for both of them, and here you have a side-by-side comparison. Here's the pipe bombs. And then we have contact grenades. Standard grenades. Satchel charges. And last but not least, rocket launchers. Can't forget exploding barrels. And then I ran the same test on a group of 25 Sylvias. With the new dismemberment engine going on in Alpha 21, the explosions looked pretty much the same and did about the same amount of damage, but in Alpha 21, there was a lot more body parts laying around. So, as far as how explosive changed as far as the game goes, it didn't really seem to change a terribly amount when it comes to just blowing up regular stuff or blowing up zombies. And finally, the bigger test was to blow up a huge chunk of a house and see how well the physics handle between the two different games with all the blocks falling. Really, the only thing left, I think, to test when it comes to the changes and explosions would to be do something like trying to implode Dishong Tower or a large building where the game really has to struggle to try and keep up with all the new changes to the falling blocks. So, if that's something you want to see, I can definitely try to do that and see how it works in Alpha 21. We've done it a few times before, it's always fun. Anyway, I hope this video was entertaining and or slightly useful. If you enjoyed it, do me a favor, leave a like on it. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe if you're not already. And in the meantime, you guys have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you later.